The At Home Show.
If this doesn't win me Dad of the Year,
oh no!
Oh,
Tyler!
I failed.
Tyler!
I forgot everything.
Oh man, Tyler! All right, you're listening to the At Home Show. We're gonna play that intro at some point, simply because I need to take this dig at Josh. We will play that intro, but for now, Josh and David.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's your Saturday morning tradition.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Oh, actually, now I'm here.
There you are. Everything's good.
I was missing. I failed to materialize properly. Good morning, everyone.
Is your nose not
my one final
twitching?
Setting.
You know, like
Get my
bewitched.
settings all correct here, so the screen can be up. Welcome everyone to the At Home Show here every Saturday morning, right here live from the green room at Bates Nursery. I hope my audio sounds okay on going out over the waves there. And good morning, Josh. Good morning, Michael, Tyler, Cary.
You're fired, Tyler.
Aw.
It's going.
Good morning.
It's being uploaded right now.
It's going to put it on his personal. It won't go on his permanent record. I mean, we'll just
Yeah,
have
on his
it.
permanent record with me.
We can be a little strict every now and then, but we'll give that a rest for a moment, because what we're going to do right now is give a look at the weather. And would you look at that?
It's going to rain.
It's going to rain, and I just want to give everybody a chance to look at the radar there. We'll loop it there. You'll see that it's kind of moving from northwest to southeast and slowly moving across there. And as it is going through these areas, we are seeing some flash flood warnings pop up here and there. So just be mindful of that. We will go to the forecast now. And of course, today is Saturday. It is the 21st of August. And those thunderstorms you see right there, it's only, by this prognostication, only 57/100ths of an inch of rain. It, as we saw earlier in the week, well, you can get quite a bit more than that in just a few minutes. We had a stretch early in the week where we got about an inch of rain in considerably less than a half hour. So it can fall fast. But that looks like it will get out of here by this morning. So 83 for the high today. So cool temperatures. However, we should get those rains out of here by later morning and still have a mostly cloudy afternoon. Tomorrow, 89, scattered thunderstorms, slight chance of rain left. And as we go into the early part of the week, the rain seems to move out of the way for a bit. And, of course, a little bit warmer conditions, lower 90s, maybe close to mid-90s by Tuesday, on through the 90s, actually out to Thursday, and the chance of isolated thunderstorms return on Friday. And currently it's 76 degrees here in the Music City, live from the green room at Bates Nursery.
What's that fantastic phone number that you can dial, David Bates? 615-499-6690?
Yep,
I think that's it. We're here for you, folks. It's going to be one of those, maybe a planning and procurement kind of a day today. Because, I mean, if you're going to be out, you better have your rain gear and your galoshes and your flip-flops, because you can just kick those off. You can just walk barefoot.
Well, I know you're a gator kind of guy, so you'll Crocs. I mean, I can't really ever keep one of those two.
I have gators as well. Now, I don't know how well they would, I don't know if that fashion statement
they don't look
would
good
be.
on your feet, do they?
Well, I mean, you have to put them under your feet and under the boots and up around the ankles. So, I mean, I guess you could wear your tactical shorts and your tank top with you have to have to pull that off, you'd have to have bright colored Crocs, maybe that neon orange, or perhaps that cerulean blue. That would look good on you, David.
Well, they do. Fortunately, they make them in a lot of different colors. So
multicolored.
That will, that'll help a lot.
Now,
615-499-6690. Give us a call, and we'll discuss whatever's on your mind. And if you've got gardening issues, or maybe there's just domestic issues, we're willing to talk about that.
Marital issues? We've done it in the past.
Yes, we certainly have.
Now, speaking of Crocs.
Also, you can reach us via our Instagram account.
Yes.
and that's the At Home Show on Instagram. And the very capable Cary will be giving us that information as we go along. So make sure to check that out.
Absolutely. See us on YouTube. But David, it seems that you have this certain, I know Michael does too, and the round mound of sound himself, Chris Ladd, he had a definite bias against the croc. I mean, he probably round mound.
Wait. Where does my bias against the croc come in?
In my point that I'm about to make.
My son wears Crocs. I don't got any problem with Crocs.
Okay. Did you buy them for him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you get the fur line kind for wintertime too?
No, he got the camo kind because
Oh, okay.
that's what he wanted.
But it seems to me that I remember that the origin of the croc was in independent garden centers. I mean, I believe they used to sell them as a kickoff slip-on type of gardening shoe. Was that? Am I misremembering this?
You could be right about that. I'm uncertain. I've never owned a pair of them. But I can see that they do have a functional place. To me, they don't appear to be comfortable, although apparently they are, because you wear them all the time. I mean, do you wear them to work, Josh? I'm just curious.
I have worn them to work, but it's not. You cannot get a steel-toed version. No, they don't make a steel-toed. No,
they don't.
No, they don't. But and they're not particularly nail-proof. I found that out the hard way when we were having a roofing project at the house, and an 1 3/4 roofing nail right through the bottom of the crock. It kind of tends to. Get your attention anyway. All right, folks. But you don't recall them being sold here at the nursery. I believe they were sold here at the nursery momentarily. Austin shaking his head over there. He's going on. He's trying to get
it.
Okay. All right. 615-499-6690. Miss Cary, do we have any questions on Instagram this morning?
Yes, we do. We have a few. Are y'all ready for some?
Okay.
All right, here we go. My peony looks terrible right now. Can I cut everything all the way to the ground? And that comes from Kevin W. Lohan, maybe in relation to Lindsay Lohan.
And he has a puny peony.
Yes.
Okay.
Kevin.
Unfortunately, a lot of people have some yucky looking peonies right now, or peonies, however you want to say it. I'm more of a peony guy, but yes, unfortunately, a lot of peonies look rough right now. It's mainly from little fungal diseases that get on them. Luckily, it doesn't ever kill peonies. Peonies are a very long-lived perennial, come back without a problem every year, but here in Middle Tennessee, they look funky this time of year. What I do recommend, though, is to live with it until frost. So we need to keep those leaves up, as ugly as they look. They're still photosynthesizing, as much as you don't believe it. They're still working, so they're giving energy down to the roots. The leaves are giving energy to the roots. So we need to try to keep those leaves up as long as we can until frost. When they start looking, they'll turn to mush more or less whenever a frost and a freeze comes. At that point, then you can cut them clear back to the dirt, and then you'll see them reemerge in the spring. Like I said, they're still giving energy, so let's leave them up as ugly as they look and wait till frost, and then we'll cut them back.
All righty.
That's just another reason to consider using Ito peonies, because they are, if you have that option open to you, they are much more resistant to leaf problems. They don't get ratty looking nearly as quickly. So if you were considering planting one in the future, that gives a lot of extra credence to that, and they don't flop over. They don't have to have a grow through or a grow device, anything that they need to be supported by. They're much more resilient, but Austin's correct. They last a long time, and a lot of people have them that perhaps they got handed down from their grandmother. You never know.
Mm-hmm. I hear that all the time, actually, out here. Like my favorite flower from my grandmother was a peony, so I want to buy one. I mean, it happens all the time. I hear that. So they are a long-lived perennial. So they'll be fine, but they're a little yuck right now.
Is there a particular fertilizer that they like better than another one, or just having some is a good thing for them?
I mean, like a bone meal type fertilizer, things for more like bulb producing type plants, they benefit from that. But the fertilizer is really not going to help the leaf spot all that much. I mean, it'll keep them vigorous, and you can add compost manure. Our Supernatural here, you can add on top to let that leach in. It'll always help. But the leaf spot injury stuff is not going to be helped by the fertilizer. It's just kind of part of our climate here. So something we have to deal with, but still peonies are worth a grow.
They are.
Absolutely. And the weather pattern that we're in right now is a good example of why that leaf spot conditions occur, not just on peonies, but for a lot of things. And you have the amount of just liquid air that we seems to be prevalent. It's a perfect condition for disease and other kinds of pathogens in the foliage. Fortunately, as you already said, Austin, it's not fatal, but it does make them look bad.
Mm-hmm. All right, 615-499-6690. If you want to chime in and go to the bat phone, we're monitoring the At-Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates live feed. That's the one we're looking at. You have other options.
You can text or leave a voicemail, either one.
And do you have a question on the bat phone, Michael?
I do. Do you guys want to hear a quick story first?
Okay.
No, what I mean by that is I had some extreme pruning going on, and I don't know that I've ever seen my mother-in-law that mad. I got a new electric weed eater, battery-powered weed eater, like 40 volt. Wasn't expecting much. The thing is awesome. I told you guys before, I don't always know what plants I have in my yard. So I'm going around, I'm like, this is a bunch of weeds. Gone. All of them. Mother-in-law looks out the window. Apparently, it was a lot of flowers that she spent some time planting about a year ago.
Whoops.
Well, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
I told her, I was like,
that will not get you any points, right?
No,
there,
I got no points. So
ones.
I just went and hung out in the basement for a while. But yes, we do have a question. It said, is it okay to trim shrubbery if it is still wet after raining? I say it's okay with me, but then I also mowed down all my flowers, so.
I think it probably depends if you live on a hillside or not. If you're afraid you'll slip with sharp shears in your hands, it could be dangerous.
Or an electric weed eater,
Well, if you're using electric ones, you might want to be cautious. But I see no issue. Austin, what you got on that?
No, plants don't care if they're wet or dry whenever you prune them. Not that I know of, anyway. I've never.
We can start a focus group, though. I mean, if we need to, it's probably a really good idea to see.
I will say this: that there are some types of plants that have maybe a very small, very not very stiff foliage. If they were really wet, they might be hanging down in an unnatural fashion. So if you're trying to shape something, it might not have stood back up like they would normally be standing, and therefore, if you trim them when they're wet and weighted down by that water on there, it might not give you the desired result in the finished product. So in that case,
you can always take some more off.
Stuff,
But if it's things
that's true. But you might take more off than what you intend to, is what my point is. So you might want to wait if you're in doubt. Just give it a wait, let it dry. It'll dry in a few minutes.
Well, I mean, you've got the let's just say red rocker crepe myrtles that are in a bush form that after one of these downpours, they kind of lay down. They're full of blooms. You need to have a designated pruner in the household. Now, Michael, it sounds like to me you are probably.
I'm not the one to choose. I can take care of the lawn all day.
You know your role.
Josh, who is it at your house?
She who shall not be named, but that is a whole nother sack of rocks. We talked about the marital thing. I just know the role, but I mean, again,
after you bought her bags of fertilizer, you do know your role.
I bought her, not only did I buy her fertilizer, I bought her seed. I bought her services from the yard boy. And
that don't count for much.
Hey, speaking of seed, let's deviate on that for just a second. Michael, I know you deal in the seed world quite a lot. Seed is in scarce supply, and it's gotten really expensive, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, our I know for the company I work for, our prices have gone up slightly. But we are having some issues in my opinion, some of my stores getting inventory in, and what we do get in sells through very quickly. And then people go, well, we need more grass seed, and I'm going, I'll pass the word along the chain. But it's even as we've gotten used to the situation we've been in during the pandemic, people still want to take care of their lawns. And what I always tell people, fall, even though all these companies put out, plant your grass seed in the spring, put your fertilizer down in the spring. Right now is probably when you want to do all your fescue. Well, not right now, but coming into the fall.
You can't.
Yeah.
The season doesn't start until September 1st. I think you have to get your permit before you can start. So,
well, the season starts when the average temperatures get into that range, and then which is not right now.
That's 9/1. Okay, September 1st. That's when the season opens, Michael. We've said that for nigh on 20, 23, 20.
You can call me a lawn poacher because I'm going to start when the weather says I
I'll call
can
you
start.
something, but I don't know if a poacher would be what it would be.
Michael, might be a good time to play the intro now.
Yeah, here we go. You ready?
Okay.
You ready? I'll just play the first part. Actually, you know what, David? Should I play it now or should I save it for next week? Because it's not going to matter if we play it now or next week.
I'm willing to go with it any way you want to go. So if you want to hold up, I mean, we're
going to hold up.
It does lose something not coming off
freshness.
the very top of the show with
Yeah,
it.
Yes.
we'll save it for next Saturday.
Okay.
And also
Good.
keep me from having to record another.
That'll make life a little easier on you this week. You won't have to produce
Yeah.
another intro.
Exactly.
There you go.
Big producer.
But no, the seed, the grass seed and all that is in a bit of short supply, and people are buying it up at an enormous rate.
Well,
But if you buy fescue now, don't plant it right now. Wait for the weather to cool off.
I would think so. But now a lot of that is produced in the western states, in Washington and Oregon, isn't it?
We produce ours. Some of it's in Oregon, some of it's in Missouri.
That's
It
west.
just depends.
Okay. But we have to remember that a lot of the western part of the United States is on fire, so that may be affecting some of it too. And trucking as a whole is tough. I mean, I don't know where all the drivers went, but they may be hauling produce back from Florida or something.
I'll put it to you this way: when we at one of the stores that I service, I was told we got a shipment in by our upper management. He's like, "Yeah, you ought to be good." And it was like 4 pallets. I went, "We're gonna breeze through this bad boy in a week."
Okay.
So, and we did.
615-499-6690. We're going to have to separate a couple of people in the studio this morning. It appears, David Bates. I mean, you have your back to them, but I can see that
They look
Nothing's
like they
happening
are
down here.
separated.
they are.
We are. We can't even see each other. There's so many plants.
Okay. But speaking of the plants, what have you got on there? I don't know if it's time for a plant rant, but I see, what are the purple ones to your right?
To my right.
We can
your
do a
left.
plant rant if you want to do a plant.
We can. I'm not going to start it until I hear my intro.
Okay.
So, there it
Why don't
is.
we do that?
Here we go.
So
Plant
soon.
rants with Cary Gant.
Start throwing stuff at her from me. Okay.
You can. Can you throw that far though, Josh?
No,
I don't
not with
know.
my
We
wing.
won't know until we find out.
Football injury.
I'll be
Football
waiting.
injury, okay.
So speaking of plants and all these glorious things around me and Austin over there, so we just got a huge shipment of some nice fall annuals. We're kind of re-upping our stock back in the greenhouse. So that's what I filled in over here as well as on y'all's side today. And Josh, you were asking about this beautiful purple hanging basket that I have here in front of me. It's a Calibrachoa. It looks like a petunia. It's a little bit smaller. It's got some nice draping. Would be great hanging on your front porch, kind of out of full sun. Pretty colors. It's popping. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Get you
then,
through till frost.
huh?
It'll get you through till frost.
It will get you through till frost. And we were actually talking about sad-looking mixed containers last week on the show. I believe we had a question on our Instagram. So this is a good time to come down to the nursery and, stock back up, redo your mixed containers, make everything pretty again. And then to my left, we have a nice orangish yellow one, as you can see, as Tyler zooms in. Get my hand in there so you can see it a little bit. We got a nice variety. We also got some Boston ferns in right here behind that guy. Yeah, those are really popular. They go really fast. I think we got 8. So
And what is right by your left elbow there?
right here.
No, down on the table.
Oh, this is my plant that I'm really excited to talk about today that we also got in with this shipment. So we got some Venus flytraps in, which are cool. I feel like everybody knows about them. Kids really love them. We've never gotten them in this big before.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one quite
That's
big.
it.
Are you ready? Here we go. Did you see it?
Ow!
Help.
Okay.
So I've spent a few, I wouldn't say hours back there playing with these Venus flytraps, but they're a pretty cool plant, especially if you have kids. They're going to eat bugs. You don't want to fertilize them, keep them moist. I've read a lot on them, and they're just a fascinating plant. So we have a couple different kinds of carnivorous plants up in the greenhouse garden center.
How many types of carnivorous plants are there?
Oh, God, I don't even know.
I only know of that one, like the Venus flytrap.
Well, there's pitcher plants, and there's tons of different varieties. There's upright, there's hanging. I don't even know where to start with how many kinds there are. Austin, do you have any idea?
Well, I mean, ones that we sell, there's only a few actually that are like on the market, but I believe out in nature there's a lot.
Wasn't the Little Shop of Horrors a giant Venus flytrap?
Yes, it
Okay.
was. Yeah,
Yep.
I've seen that numerous
was that-
times.
what
Maybe
was-
that,
So good.
that kind of carnivorous, but you know.
I think Planet Earth did a thing on carnivorous plants, and I think there was like a lot, like way more than what's in the trade that we see. You know.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's out there.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Alrighty.
Well, yeah, they eat bugs, and
I know some of the
It's
pitcher
cool.
plants are so large that even small mammals can fall into
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
and be digested. So
it is crazy. I mean, these will close up and then digest the bug that they get. If they stay open, if you ever wonder why they turn black and the trap will fall off, it's when the bug is too big and it can't become airtight, and so it tries to digest it, can't all the way, and then that dies, which is a little bit sad. But it takes 7 to 12 days for them to digest, and then they open back up. Science.
Oh,
Wow.
they're savoring
Wow.
that meal.
That's
They
kind of like
are.
Michael when he eats hot peppers. He can't get quite airtight.
I don't eat hot peppers. Period. So,
You don't at all?
No.
What's wrong with you? Just kidding.
What's wrong with me is I don't like them.
answer.
I got a cousin out in New Mexico that grows habaneros, and he'll eat them right off the vine.
Ooh,
And
no.
he's used to it. I just had a nibble and had to drink like a half a gallon of milk. I'm like, nah, never again. I'm good.
That's the last time
That's
for
it.
you.
Yep.
that only makes it worse. You really should not drink like milk or water.
That
Crackers
explains
would be a
why.
lot
That
better.
explains why it took like half an hour for me to feel okay. So,
Oh, that's pretty sad.
yeah, it's pretty.
Are you
sad.
over it now, though?
Yeah,
you
I
still
like it.
have some feelings, but
He's got a trauma.
I like hatch green.
Does.
I like hatch green chilies on my burgers.
those are good.
So-
Yeah, not too spicy though.
Not too
really
spicy.
at all.
Nope.
Yeah, but while we're on the camera over there, on you lovely gentlemen on that side of the room, again, I brought in a lot of annuals that we have gotten off the truck. So there's a lot
And
of
what
colors
a
going on
lovely
up there.
job you did. I want to
Yes.
compliment you on that. It's really beautiful, exceptionally so today. So great looking.
thank
Tell us
you.
what we're looking at.
We're looking at all different kinds of plants. So there are some asters back there, Gerber daisies in front of the asters. So the asters are the purple
celosia?
ones. Some echinacea, which I feel like we always have to bring in because it's always so beautiful. It's a perennial. It's going to come back every year. Great pollinator. And I mean, I just want to stare at all these flowers all day.
Is there
pretty.
is there a vegetable in the middle there?
Vegetable.
No, I don't think so. Unless I snuck one in. I don't have on my glasses, so I can't see that well.
That's just a Gerber daisy. I don't
Okay.
blame on it.
Wouldn't know what that
It
is.
looks kind of like some kind of green. You're right, Josh. You were right.
I was just asking. But
Good question.
The in your hanging baskets now, do folks come in and they usually see them where you've got the purple and like just today this morning you've got purple on one side and the yellow on the other. Do people mix and match? Do they kind of take half of one and put them into the other baskets as when they leave? Do you know?
Yeah,
Or-
there's people mix it. Some people like to keep it all the same color, same plant. I mean, and some people get wild. It's just a matter of taste and what your style is.
okay.
That's a good question too. You're full of good questions today, Josh.
I'm full of something.
Yes, you are. And I do have one more hanging basket back here because, I'm a houseplant person. I love them. So we got a bunch of really great philodendron hanging baskets. These are a little heart-leafed. I know
Wow.
we were talking about marriage this morning. So, if you want to get your sweetheart something cute, little heart-shaped leaves, you can keep this inside all year round. So Good option.
Valentine's Day can be every day for you.
That is right. And it is for me. I love Valentine's Day.
Very
Well, I
good.
think I'm done with my rant. I mean, I can keep going. There's plants all around me, but...
Well, to Austin's left, there is a grassy substance.
Oh, there is. I got excited when these came off the truck as well. Austin, do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, it's a panicum. So it's a type of grass. It's an annual panicum, though, so it's not one that's going to come back for you. But the little wispy little seed heads atop of this grass.
They're exciting.
There it is. Really
There
good
you
for a
go,
mixed
that's better.
container.
What is that one called? Something explosion?
Frosted explosion.
Ooh.
And it kind of is. Those seed heads are kind of whitish amongst the green there. Like I said, good space filler plant for a mixed container. Don't count on it coming back, though, because it probably will not. But good to get you through frost. That's kind of what we have been, why we restock this time of year is because we were just talking about your things looking tired a little bit. Get these things out and replant them in your mixed containers and get them going till frost. And whenever frost comes around, we can switch up. By that point, we'll have pansies that give you all winter color, and you can switch them out at that point. But in this kind of late summer into the fall kind of lull of plants, these are good to kind of add in to get you there till frost.
Now, they also,
Yeah,
I don't see any mums. Are they just not in yet? Or
We
are they?
got a
We got some,
handful
yeah.
in, just in
Okay.
small, like 6-inch containers, but not too many. Not our big
Yeah,
shipment
one thing
just
it's
yet.
important to keep in mind is that we keep mentioning frost. We're still at least 2 months away from that occurring, maybe as much as 3 months away. So there's a long time to keep the color looking good, and that's why it's a great idea to maybe think about doing, even though they're warm season annuals, to think about putting those in right now to kind of add to what you've already got and freshen them up a little bit.
Yep, I know my mixed containers are a little bit sad right now, so I might have to get a couple things to revamp it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is you don't have to revamp the whole thing. If you have something, say you planted lantana or vinca or something that likes the warm weather, they're looking good right now probably. But some of those, early spring annuals that are looking tired, just pop those out and pop something in that works, and you don't have to refresh the whole thing. So just, keep that in mind.
All righty, 615-499-6690. Well done, as always.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, guys. And Tyler, do we have a spot that we're going to run here?
Yeah, yep, we sure do.
Well, let's do that, and we'll be right back.
It's never too early to get a leg up on what you'll need at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Oh, yeah. So,
David, you're looking stunning today, by the way.
Yes, you are. You're glowing.
Oh, well, thank you. I thought I would go with the formal black today.
Yeah.
Very
Looks
nice.
good.
It's never too early to get a leg up on what you'll need at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Whether it's trees or shrubs, flowers or ornamentals, David Bates and his team have exactly what you're looking for, and they have exactly what you need to ensure it thrives too. If you're a Bates Rewards member, you can get 20% off all Monrovia products, plus 20% off Earth Mix Supernatural and Landscape in 36-liter bags through August 26th. Stop in and see us today. We're located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway off Whites Creek Pike, and minutes from downtown Nashville. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And yes,
Yes.
that is just to reiterate briefly. Bates Rewards members, we have extended the 20% off all Monrovia plants for another week, and we have added Earth Mix Supernatural and Landscape. And I love that little shot there where it goes flying through the air. And you could do that with it, although that's not its intended purpose. But yes, you can indeed project that into the air,
Yes,
and
you
it
can.
gives you a nice effect. So thank
We're
you
just
guys for
excited
putting that
about
together.
dirt
Come
around
out and
here.
see us.
Yeah, and by the way, you don't know how long it took us to get that shot.
It took a minute. Yeah. But it looked great.
It was cool, but it took a while.
It did. That's a nice effect. So yeah, come out and see us. The rain is going to move through this morning, and it's getting close to the area now. By the time we get up to around, I would say 11 o'clock, it will pretty much be out of the central part of Middle Tennessee and moving on into the eastern part. So we're going to get out of it quicker than a lot of points east of us, but there's going to be quite a substantial amount of rainfall, but for a short period of time.
And anything you take home today will be well watered. You know that for sure. I mean, it pre-watered at the nursery.
Well, it's going to be anyway. We're pretty good about our irrigation practices here at Bates Nursery. So, but yes, Mother Nature is going to add her little portion to that, and whatever you happen to plant is going to get watered in really nicely. We can't complain about the amount of rainfall that we have had over the course of this month thus far. For August, it's really been a nice amount. Most areas around have gotten a few inches of rain this month, which is really awesome because we've had some years where we almost got nothing. So it has made the hot temperatures we've had at times a lot more bearable.
But this sale that you're having on the Monrovia products, there's no exclusions. If it's a 5-gallon or the bigger or little ones, as long as it's got Monrovia on it, everything's on sale. No limits to that.
That's right. And a huge amount of our inventory is Monrovia products. So be it perennials or ornamental grasses or broadleaf evergreens,
Japanese
check it
maples.
out. Come out and see us, and see Austin and Adam, Ben, any of our staff. We'll be glad to help you. Shannon, all great guys out there. And of course, Cary and the ladies in the greenhouse and checkout area, we're glad to assist you as well. Come out and see us, Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where that we're getting close to having our garden center renovations completed. We're Tyler, you want to give us and Cary an update on that and how soon we're going to be back into that area?
Maybe a week. Austin, do you know? I know you guys have been putting plastic up.
Yeah,
all
it's
week.
been it's funny. It's project season out here at Bates Nursery right now. So like for us, it's funny because we in the spring and in the fall we're super busy with customers. We can't do any projects. So when we get to do projects is dead of the summer, dead of the winter. We're usually the worst time to work. I mean, I've been with the guys putting plastic on greenhouses, and I've been doing this for a month now. It's been the 4th week in a row. I've been either up on a roof or up on a ladder or down low putting plastic on greenhouses. And if you've never done that,
It looks like so much fun.
Oh, buddy,
It really
it's-
does. I'm so
man.
jealous when I see you guys up there.
yeah, it's there's an art to it, y'all. Plastic's funny. It's nice because it bends and you can turn it and you can put it where you want to, kind of. But at the same time, you get wrinkles in it, and you got to get those wrinkles out.
Man,
Oh no!
it's
See,
such
I can see
pain.
Big Daddy Dave up here walking along. No, we're not gonna have that.
It takes a whole
my days
team.
of walking. Yeah, my days of walking the roof have passed.
No.
I did it all the way through up until about 3 years ago, and then finally, Mrs. Bates put her foot down and said, "You will no longer get on top of those buildings." So, but what we're working on right now though is inside, and we've got to get all this done before we move the plants back in, and that's where Cary comes in because she deals with that on a daily basis, and we've had our tropicals in the side of the garden center, kind of coming up to the edge of the shrubbery, but very soon, perhaps in the coming week or so, we'll begin moving those back inside. And it's exciting to be able to have this area that really showcases what we have, and it gives a much nicer shopping environment.
Yes, it does.
It's
I'm excited.
huge.
It is huge.
Yeah, I
We
mean, it
can
just
fit
looks so big.
so many tall things in there.
Well, and there's also there was some progress made. There's a large Quonset type structure that now has cover over the top of it that is stunning. I mean, that is amazing. So you guys need to come out here and
there was
see.
there was one little problem with that.
Oh.
And,
Uh-oh.
yes.
The bill?
They came up about 2 feet short.
Oh.
And so we have the north end of it. We've, it's been one of those sore spots for me this week that I measured it and ordered it exactly as I was told to by my installer, and apparently it's still my mistake. And I know this. I'm the one who gets to deal with the financial aspect of it. So anyway, it should
Do we
be
move
okay.
now? Are we moving one of the end structures in, or how are we going to address this? There's an additional sew-on, strap-on, bolt-on type of an addition to that end down there.
We've got one more piece that's going to have to be added, but I don't think it'll be a big deal. They're very good at what they do. I would have gladly ordered it 2 feet longer had I been told that it needed to be that. So anyway, that's just one of those things, when you got a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of opportunities for error, and finding a place to put the blame doesn't change the problem.
Pointing the fingers doesn't do any good.
It just it might give you a moment of satisfaction, but it doesn't change what we're dealing with. So we got that going on, and then we've got further renovations on the roof at the flat top greenhouse area.
They started
hopefully
framing
by spring. That will all be done, and that will help all of that greatly as well.
Yep, lots of posts set. I noticed that as I came through. But 615-499-6690, that's we're here for you. We can talk about anything you want to talk about, or we just sit here and talk about what we want to talk about.
Now, Cary, you still have some more questions through Instagram, do you not?
Yes, I do. Let me pull them up. All right. This one actually relates to something that Michael was talking about earlier in this episode. Miriam Mims asks, is it too soon to plant grass or rehab my lawn?
It's a little soon right now. If you try to plant fescue, it's going to have a hard time coming up when it's staying up in the 90s.
Next week's bad too. I think I heard right.
Yeah,
triple digits again next week, like real feel. So.
But if you were going to go through and maybe spot spray on some bad weed patches, it would be a good time to start with that.
That's a perfect time. Yeah, the hotter the better with the herbicides for sure. I mean, as hot as you can get whenever you spray herbicides, is going to kill the weeds the quickest.
A lot of these stores right now are already getting out like the fertilizers, like the weed and feed and stuff. And if you put something like that down, I mean, it's like 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, now
before you can plant seed.
Weed and feed, you would think that would be, because people don't consider their lawn as a weed, but it's a grass.
It's a weed we like.
We don't like to.
I really don't recommend using a weed and feed personally. A weed and feed product, particularly if you are planning on doing overseeding, because the very chemicals that do the weed prevention, or even if it's a post-emergent type of broadleaf control, those can have really negative effects on the germination of the cool season grasses, the fescues in particular, that you will be putting up. So I'm in total agreement. I would wait at least, and for my money, I would be waiting at least a month before I did that.
Right, and then and there are organic options for your fertilizers out there. I mean, if you want to put it down when you do your overseeding, there's another key step that we haven't talked about, and that's the aeration portion. But that's again
dethatching as well. If you haven't dethatched your lawn in a while and get all that junk up off the bottom of your lawn, that'll help out a lot.
If you would stop rethatching it, you wouldn't have to dethatch.
Yeah,
it.
well. I think that happens when you mow it a lot too. That's when you rethatch it.
But aeration. But again, as overseeding season doesn't start until September 1st.
Or if you listen to me just whenever the weather happens, because if the highs are in the 90s come September 1st, you still can't do it.
I will say it's okay to get your seed now. I strongly recommend.
Go ahead, if you see it, get it
down yet.
Mm-hmm. But there are, again, it's trucking issues. I've heard that it's not just seed, the production and all kinds of industries. Be a good idea if you want windows by the end of calendar year 2021. You better get those coming by the September 1st as well. Just a little hint.
Windows. I do need a new window. Maybe I should get on that.
Cary, you got another one for us here? Another question?
Oh, do I? So this comes from Jesse_23. When should I start planning on bringing in my houseplants for the winter? I usually start like mid-October, a couple weeks before we get a freeze. I do have a lot of houseplants, but I also like to acclimate them to my indoor climate. We actually had a webinar that we did last year on overwintering houseplants and what to do, and just how to get them used to that environmental change. So you can find that on our Bates Botanical Bootcamp link on the Bates Nursery website. But I would say,
I believe you've got another one on houseplants coming up this week. Is that correct? This coming
yes,
week?
I do. On Wednesday, we have common houseplant problems. So we'll just be addressing like basic houseplant problems, overwatering, fertilizing, pests, all those fun and exciting things that all houseplant people need to know.
11 a.m. Central.
Good job, Tyler.
All right. Well, tune in and don't miss that episode.
It'll be fun.
And why don't we, at this moment, take just a short minute and talk about Earth Mix garden products, because we really feel like that a significant portion of the things that you're going to have success with horticulturally really starts at how you're growing those plants. And at Earth Mix garden products, the distinct effort is made to not only have 100% organic soils, completely soils and mulches and amendments, but also done so with a sustainable approach. That way, the products that are used to make Earth Mix garden products come locally or are produced in-house and give you not only organics and sustainability, but also the very best growing mediums available. And that is demonstrated throughout the line of products, whether you're talking about Earth Mix Garden, Proganics O, outdoor potting medium, or Proganics I, which is great for indoor plants. And by the way, Proganics I does not use peat. It uses coconut coir in it. And what that does, and it's really important for your indoor plants, if you've ever had those pesky little greenhouse gnats in your house, those are attracted to peat moss but not to coconut coir. So you do get those fungus gnats when you use peat. You don't get it when you use coconut coir, and Proganics I uses that product completely. So Earth Mix Garden Products is carried at all the best garden centers around Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, even up into Ohio and Indiana. Simply click on the Find Earth Mix tab and scroll down the page there, and you'll see all of the little points come up there all over the area. You can zoom in or type in the address bar here directions for turn-by-turn drive to the location nearest you. And remember this: success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. We appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that.
Yep. You can even get it in Smyrna. You sure can.
Ooh, absolutely. Wow. Red Barn, Red Barn over there in Smyrna. They are great folks out there.
Nice little nursery too. Nice little place. All right, folks, we're here for you. We've got a plethora of materials inside the studio. I see some hydrangeas behind us as well, and these little purple ones are with the little baby flowers on them are just gorgeous this morning. So, if you got questions about what's in studio, you can come and see them. And then,
hey, Austin, give us a minute about what Josh just referred to there. You know, this has been hydrangea year. Mm-hmm. If it maybe wasn't known, but 2021 has effectively become the year of the hydrangea because they've all been wonderful.
I thought it was the year of
it's pretty much been all season long, from spring all the way through.
Yeah, that's the panicle hydrangeas he's talking about back there, which is the big, huge white bloom. They kind of start greenish, and then they go to a true white, and then they fade to kind of a pink. Around town right now, they are all still pretty true white, upright, blooming, have been for a long time. And what he was talking about out in front of that is tall garden phlox right there, which pairs well with hydrangeas because they bloom at about the same time.
That's not a hydrangea. It's a phlox. You said it was
the phlox out in front of it. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the hydrangeas, the big white ones, but out in front, that little purple is phlox. And like I said, it pairs well with hydrangeas. If you wanted to do a massing of hydrangeas out in the back and then put some phlox out in front of those, as you can see, they pair really well together.
Be careful how you say that, Austin. Phlox.
Yes.
But the flower, the bloom is virtually identical to the white one. So I mean, that's what it confused me there. But it's got that's gorgeous.
Yeah, they pair nicely.
Now, the phlox that I'm more familiar with is the stuff that they used to sell. You remember, David? Do you remember the old? Was it a TV Guide? You remember TV Guide? Do you remember TV Guide?
Yeah, I remember
Okay.
TV Guide.
Well, they always had.
Flock.
Yeah, and they had that full page ad that said that you can get $3.99 worth of it, and it'll take over 15-acre field in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty common with exaggerated advertising claims. That's if you're going to exaggerate at all, you might as well go over the top with it.
Well, it was the same way with the zoysia plugs. I mean, you could get an envelope of 15 zoysia plugs and then just put them out in the yard, and they're going to take it over. You don't have to mow your grass anymore, right?
Yeah, as long as you've got about 30 years to wait. There's a spot in the property next door where one piece of zoysia sod was put in place, and it's been maybe 40 years ago, and it has covered the whole side yard, but that's just one piece. Now, if you put plugs in, certainly you could get a much faster coverage than that, but it does take some time.
Now, you used to recommend a lot when people would put zoysia in particular that people take a bulb planter and buy the sod in the squares and then break it out and move it along, because we've heard.
You really need to get it like an industrial type bulb planter, because you'll pushing through into hard ground repeatedly is pretty tough on them. There's a lot of those bulb planters that frankly are not all that. So
they're not worth the $4.99.
Really,
no, they're not.
No. So, yeah, consider that before you get into that project. 615-499-6690. That's how you reach out and leave us a voicemail or a text message. You can also go out to Instagram and leave us a message there. Cary, you got anything else for us on the Instagram side?
Yes, I do. I got one more. Let me pull it up. This is a good question for this morning. Are there any good annual flowers that I can plant in a container or in ground right now? And that comes from Wit and Grace. I feel like we did touch on that a little bit already today, but Austin?
Yes, we do. We decorated the room today, or you decorated the room yesterday with all of these annuals. So yeah, like we were talking about earlier, these are the ones that are going to get you through till frost. Like David said, we still got 2 months, maybe even 3 before frost. So all of these are good summer annuals. And yeah, we like I said, this week we restocked with them, and we've got plenty to look at right now, and it's not going to stop. I mean, we're going to keep on going with that.
Yeah, I think we got more coming in next week, maybe the week after that.
Probably every week now for the most part. And then once pansies are going to start coming in soon. So
and
once
you're
that
excited
happens,
about that.
What about fall veggies? Have you seen any of those yet?
fall veg? Yep, the first crop came in this week, and it's still a little hot for fall veg at the moment for us specifically, because we've got to keep them in a greenhouse, and in a greenhouse it gets a lot hotter. So what we've got to do is kind of monitor them and make sure they don't want to go to seed on us. That's the biggest problem with us. Now, for y'all out there, let's get past next week, which is supposed to be pretty hot still. Once we get past that, it's about time to get those fall veggies set out into the garden. I know most of your summer gardens are starting to play out probably. I know even peppers are still doing fine, but even tomatoes.
Gosh, yeah.
But even tomatoes are starting to play out, and all your summer squash and zucchini, things like that are starting to get rough. So let's get that garden prepped. I've got a webinar, not next week, but the week after, on fall garden prep. So I will tell you kind of what to do on that and how to get ready for your fall season. And then once that happens, you'll be able to come out here and get whatever you want.
Unabashed plug for Supernatural and the fact that it's on sale this week. That's going to be. I've got a feeling that's going to be a major portion of your webinar that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, that'll be a topic for sure. Top dressing with our great compost that we have here called Supernatural, and getting a good layer of that down never hurts. People always ask me when should I fertilize? How should I do it? All this. It never hurts to add organic material back to your soil. So any time's a good time for that.
Now you go back to the question. Go ahead, David.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
No, I was going to go back to the question about the annuals coming in. My experience, particularly here, is that it comes down to what color you want, what kind of texture you want, how big you want the blooms to be, what it's going to be. So there's a wide selection of stuff for them to choose from.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Supernatural is not sold as a fertilizer. It is sold as a soil amendment, primarily for organic gardening use, but it can be used on anything. But as a top dress, as Austin was just mentioning, it has very high organic fertility content. So by top dressing with that, you get all of the great nutrition that comes out of, because there is our compost used in there. There's mushroom compost and chicken litter and earthworm castings. So all of these things, when you water them, the tea essentially comes out of them. And you can buy tea in some places in bottles, but what you effectively get is this when you leach that through, the plants absorb it up, and in addition to that, you get all the additional endo and ectomycorrhiza fungi and humic acid. So these are things that add to your plant's overall health, not just the fertility of it.
So it's good for the soil. I mean, it's good for the garden, good for everything else.
Good for the soil, it's good for everything around it. So, you're going to probably get unintended benefits just by the general use of it and having it available as a nutritional source for your plants. We're coming up to the tail end of the growing season here, so the plants are. And the great thing about using organics, as Austin just touched on, is that it doesn't blast your plants with a big shot of nitrogen, which can be bad when you come to frost, because you don't want your plants to be in an overly juiced up state where they're pushing a lot of new growth. What that does is that can make the plant too tender, and it can get damaged due to frost and freezes. If you have a couple of years ago, we had a really hard freeze. The very first, we didn't have a frost. We had like 17 degrees the first night. Now that's very unusual. But that's the kind of things that can happen. And if your plants are really juiced up, they're very susceptible to getting damaged. Organics will never do that to your plants.
So, but I mean, it goes to the soil and it goes to the plants. So, I mean, it's everything you need in the bag, per se. I mean, you don't have to do a whole lot. You don't have to worry about mixing ratios and worried about whether or not we've got a pK of the high middle number, high low on the front side. All that confusing stuff that everybody tries to understand, but unless you're in the industry, you really don't ever really catch it. I don't think so. But it's right there for you, all in one bag, ready to rock. Yep. Or bulk, I would imagine as well.
Oh yeah, scoop it out from your truck right into your garden.
And a lot of people, my wife has become a big fan of applying Supernatural to pretty much everything late in the season. So that's another really good approach. And as we mentioned already, that's one of the items. That and landscape are both 20% off for Bates Rewards members. So come in and see us. And it's not just today. It's all the way through the end of business on Thursday next week. So come on out and see us. And it's a great time to stock up.
Sure is. 615-499-6690. Those are the numbers to dial.
Josh, I've got a question for you. You made a quick reference a bit ago about if someone was wanting to order windows, if they were replacement windows or new construction, whatever the case may be, that if they want them by the end of the year, they need to get them ordered.
Probably.
So,
I mean, if it's hit and miss, and all the vendors are creating issues, but we've got a couple of them that are out 6 months. So if you want that.
Now, how much of that delay is on the manufacturing side? Is it 100%? Is it 80%? How much of that is the trucking in your mind? I mean, what are all of the factors that are and of course, supply and demand, the demand being the other part of that, how do you see all of those things being a part and parcel of the long lead times that are required for ordering things like that?
You have components that are in short supply for certain portions of the window. You have this little thing called COVID. Is still going on. It's still out there. If you get one in there and you got to quarantine for a little while, I mean, I think people are just getting to the point where they are they're not over promising and under delivering. They're just telling you the truth. So I mean, if the capacities are full and they have all these other factors going on, 12 weeks is really not unusual. 8 weeks is good. Some, just depending upon the mix and the match of what it is that you're trying to do, you might see in 2 to 3, which is really pretty normal. It just is. It really just boils down to what it is that you're going on to. But trucking, supplies of things. I mean, if something is coming from overseas, it's not just windows, but I mean, we've known that this is going to be coming on for about 6-8 months now. And if your project was delayed for whatever reason, or you were trying to worry about the price of lumber, let's say, and you were going to wait until you saw some sort of relief, and now all of you got some relief, got it all cranked up and got it going. Oops, we're just going to have to stop. Okay, because you can move on with certain things, but it's really hard to dry in a house without all the holes in the walls filled up, unfortunately. But
well, and there's just the whole. I guess it really, in my mind, it really plays into the adage that we have talked about for years on our program, Josh, is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I think that's more important now than ever, is that the whatever level of advanced planning you can do will certainly add to your ability to be at least approaching the project you're doing from an informed status and having enough patience on the front end. It's just unlikely to be able to get out and do some major construction project, get it up and out of the ground and completed in a short time frame anymore. I mean, it takes a lot of advanced planning.
Well, and even with the best laid plans of mice and men, they often go astray. But David, let's use your example of the Quonset structure that we ended up with about a 2-foot shortage on the tarping area.
Yeah.
Let's just say you waited 6 months to get the first one. And you decided that, either A, we have a patch that we're going to do. We've got to work around. We're going to order, hey, wasn't my fault. We're going to order a whole new one that's going to be 2 feet longer. You're going to wait another 6 months for that? I mean,
we can't.
No, you can't. So now we have to move on. If there is a mistake or there's something that gets broken, glass is a pain, but I mean,
heaven forbid,
something gets broken, or you're going to wait the initial lead time. You're going to probably have another lead time that's going to be equal to it. Yeah. And if the country shuts back down, I mean, I think that there is some possibility that there may be some additional quarantining coming. I'm not saying that there is or there isn't, but I mean, the crystal ball is sure shining on that. I'm seeing that we may see, at least in regions, problems with that. But if we had a really cold winter in Texas and we're having problems getting petroleum distillates, which are used a lot in a lot of adhesives. You can't glue things together. There's very little in this industry that's actually a solid piece of wood anymore. So you're going to be laminated, or it's going to be some other things going along. So, like I say, it's not our fault. Okay, so we're going to do whatever it is that you can do to help you work around it.
Well, there's obviously a lot of construction going on around town, and I'm assuming in many locations, the people who are doing that successfully are the people who are the better planners and be able to get their timeline in a realistic form so that they can get a job done in a reasonable and expected timeline,
and have built in some.
Build it all in.
Well, and you got to build in price increases. Again, if you're going to go in there and budget, I don't know how the bankers are doing it. I wish we had a banker that could call us and figure out how we're going to be able to do it, because
the bankers seem to always make money, do they not? I mean,
it's kind of like the stock market too. You're going to get a taste on the front side of any trade and then a back side of any trade, whether it's a good one or a bad one for the client. So. But it's an unusual time that we live in. So.
Absolutely.
But football season starts next week, so I mean,
It does indeed. And so, how you feeling about that, Josh? And we're of course we're not a sports program, but I know that
I feel better
are a
than
Titan
them.
blue kind of guy. So, how you
two-tone
feeling
blue.
about it?
I feel I'm cautiously optimistic, unlike the Orioles, my baseball team. So don't you even say a word. I'll smack the taste right out of your mouth.
Like to see you do it.
Huh?
I
You're
would
off-
too. Go ahead.
It's awful close, but
The
yeah.
Titans aren't going to go anywhere this year.
Hey,
Except the-
speaking of the Titans, real quick, y'all, we might be on the jumbotron.
Nice.
At
That's
the
worth seeing.
entrance of the Titans. They came out here with like a full production crew. I mean, what, Tyler? There was like 40 people out here filming us, working. There was an actor that got out. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to make the cut or not, but we might be on the Tron, which would make my life.
Was Eddie out? Was anybody out here from the team?
No,
Or-
negative. I wish, but no. But yeah, it was a whole thing. It
The
was,
creative
it was wild.
director for
'Cause
the
I-
Titans was on the scene.
Because I've heard
Sir,
Taylor
he's a
Lewan
really
is
nice
quite
guy.
the gardener.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too. Actually,
Yeah, you have. Okay.
I think if anything, this will definitely let them know, hey, we got what you need up here.
We'll be stalking Julio as we go. All right, folks. Music means that we are going to be shutting down this edition of the At Home Show. But rest assured, next Saturday morning, we're going to come back. We're going to have another one. We'll freshen up all the plants in the studio. It'll be something new to look at every week and see what's going on. For everybody here on the crew, we want to thank you for participating this week. Share us on your social media. Go out to Instagram. Go out to Facebook. Go
Absolutely.
out to YouTube. Go out to LinkedIn. LinkedIn, folks, hey, if you're out there, you've got a product or you've got a service, please let us know about it. We've got the capabilities of getting in here and helping you sell some of that as well. Or just let it inform the at-homies of what's going on. We'll see you here next Saturday morning live from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center.